Hi, Karen. How are you? Good to see you
I'm
after a
good.
long
How are
time.
you?
Good, good.
Same here.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate doing this interview and sharing experience with me. Much appreciated. Thank you. So, Karen, do you want to just give the quick introduction about yourself? Who you are, where do you live, what you do?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, like you've already taken my name, so my name is Karen, and I live in Sydney. I've been working as an assistant accountant for a while now, um, majorly about 3 years now. And been looking to I've been looking to buy a property within Sydney for a very long time, but it has been absolutely impossible to do so because the market is really, really, really expensive here. And as a I'm single, so obviously it's just one income, so it's very difficult to be able to afford something with just a single income. Um, and as an assistant accountant, you don't fetch a lot of income either. So definitely, it's been a while that I've been looking to buy something, but and also within Sydney, I live in a very expensive area,
Mm-hmm.
so I live with my family. So I've always wanted to live within the vicinity where I could visit my family because I don't drive. So I want to be able to be within close contact so I can come visit them and all of that. But where I live, it's way out of my pocket. So yeah, it has been quite a journey trying to look for something first within where I live in Bockham Hills in Sydney, and then trying to explore around. Still expensive, so I happened to come across you. So
That's good. No, no, that's awesome. So my next question was, how did you find us? How did you contact or select find smart property for investment?
so I believe so. My sister-in-law has been her sister-in-law is friends with you, so she has been and I think you've been advertising constantly about your growing business on Facebook, and which is how she came across that. And when I was thinking about buying a property, and I just didn't know how could I go about with it because it's my first time. I obviously don't have any properties, any kind of investments in any form. So it was my first time, absolutely unaware, new, um, zero knowledge, going from ground zero to into something. So she advised me to reach out to you. As a trusted friend, she thought it would be a great start for me to um, go into consultation with someone who I could trust because I know. And that's how I kind of got in touch. So I got her to get in touch with you to kind of firstly refresh your
Yeah,
memory that I'm her sister-in-law.
yeah, I remember
And
that discussion.
that's when I kind of got in touch with you, and it kind of built that confidence that with when I spoke to you the first time, I could sense the genuineness, so I felt like I could connect. It was very relatable, and that's how I started my journey.
Awesome, awesome. Right. So I clearly remember our first discussion when I spoke to Viviana. She mentioned about you. Right. Good, good, good. I mean, look, I must congratulate you first because you are a young professional in Sydney, and taking a decision to invest takes a lot of courage. It's not easy, right? Especially when you say you don't know anything about the investment, you don't know anything about the property. So like there's lot of things to consider, and when you take a decision, it's lot of decision making ability, right? So I must congratulate you for taking action and getting a result. Well done.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
right. So how about like obviously you're in Sydney, you bought interstate, like thousands or thousands kilometer away from Sydney. Um, did you bother you initially that how it's going to happen and what's how I'm going to do that, and would that get into any trouble? What was the experience
Well,
like?
I had a lot of concerns. Um, a little about me is that I don't trust people very easily. So, and because I've never had experiences in my life where I've had to do such long-term commitments or have to trust people financially. I've always been a very close bound person to my family, to my friends. I'm a very small profile, small
Mhm.
kind of like circle kind of person. So for me to make that decision to explore and get out of my comfort zone was a very big decision. But I think um, the the first thought that I have someone who is a friend, my sister-in-law, a family friend, was comforting. And the first time when I spoke to you, I think what eased me is you trying to understand my situation and asking me a lot of questions about me, which actually I didn't really know. When I was answering your questions, I subconsciously didn't know that I wanted these things in my life. It was about a person asking me those questions. So those questions never came across to me personally until someone asked me them. And that's when I realized that I have so much clarity in my mind, and I know what I want. Is just needing the right guidance and needing a person who's asking me the right questions. And I think when I spoke to you in that initial consultation of about, I don't know how long that went for, about an hour or whatever, and I think that hour's conversation gave me the confidence that your genuineness kind of, I could relate with it, and I think that kind of made me feel that um, this journey will be easy. I will have difficulties, but it will be easier considering that you have my best interest. So it was
Yeah,
bothering at first, until I was introduced to you and many other people along the journey. But once I started meeting people, and I trusted you and you trust people, so that kind of gives me the confidence that the people I'm dealing with through you are going to be just as genuine as you are. So
yeah, no, no, well done, Karen. Well done. I mean, it's I can understand your situation because I was there in your shoes at one point of time. It's a big investment. It's one of the expensive investment or the purchases you can ever do in your life, right? So you need to have a clarity, you need to have a support, and you need to be comfortable what you are doing that. And that's why, like, before I sign up any client, I just want to understand that what they are looking for, right? People want to invest in property, but they don't have a goal, right? If you don't know what you want to achieve in 2 year, 5 year time, we will never work out a strategy to reach there. Like, think about that. If you want to reach some,
and also to add in, I think what was comforting for me is that you didn't look at me as a business opportunity, and more of a personal, interpersonal. You use the interpersonal relationship to be able to build on what I want, and not just look at it as a business opportunity and just sell me the things that you have to sell me, but rather you tried to sell me the things that I want. So that kind of, also kind of, and the whole thing that you're not dealing with 100 customers at the same time. So it's that kind of gives me the belief that you're just trying to do the business, but doing one person at a time, or just doing limited people at the same time, it just gives you that that personal kind of, you feel important. So that was one of the, also one of the reasons that I felt like there was personal attention on me, for the reason that I'm not very new to this, and absolutely starting from ground zero. So I like that very much as well. So that was one of the very important reasons why I wanted to go ahead with it, is because I felt I was looked after really well. My questions were answered, and I was being given the attention and the priority every time I required it. I was never made to wait, or left thinking, oh my god, why is Amit not answering my question, or left in anxiety or like curiosity that when am I going to get the answer. So yep, that was one of the very important things that kind of initially made me want to go ahead with the whole process.
awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing your feedback. Really appreciate that. Right. Let's get into the deal. Right. What we end up getting. You want to talk about that? What sort of property you end up buying? Where is
Yep.
it? You don't need to share the suburb, but you can give the high level details. I know our budget was around 500, only 500, which is like kind of tight in the, especially the
Yes.
hot market where we wanted to buy, because the whole
Yes.
idea was to buy in the area where which is early in the growth cycle, so we can get the quick growth and potentially withdraw the equity and invest again and build the portfolio. So yeah, do you want to just give the quick insight, like
Yes.
what we got?
Yes, so I believe when I first spoke to you couple of months ago, I was aiming to get something that wasn't very big. I was aiming to get something that wasn't that was within my budget, and I was not ready to push myself because of like as I mentioned before, I'm a single
Oh,
person
yeah,
with a very tight income, and it has been years and years of my savings and years and years of my compromises which
hard
have
earned
helped me
money.
save.
Yeah, no, I understand
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So it was something that I was very reluctant. I've never been a person who's been living in tight circumstances financially. So for me to make that decision that I have to give this away and live on a very tight budget was very concerning. But when you came up with different proposals which um initially I felt was great, also suiting my pocket, but I think sometimes the right property just calls you. And when you came up with the property that was a four bedder and two garage space and a massive hall and parking space and having a backyard to myself and a pergola, that kind of like, I was honestly not expecting that. Firstly, I was like, okay, I was expecting something small, but I went for something that big. And even when I tell people today that, oh, I've got a four bedder, I've got a two garage space, and when I show them my property, they're so proud of me, and I can't believe it myself half the time. So yes, it is it I went beyond what I expected, and also within the range that I didn't expect. So it was great. Like I was working on a very tight budget, and to get something in a hot market for the price that I got, it was just, I guess, I was just lucky, or you were just hardworking enough to find it for me. I don't know what it was. It was just my stars were aligned. I guess everything just worked for me at the right time. Um, and I remember back then you even telling me that where I got the property, to get something within that range was so difficult because everything was selling way above my budget or way out of my pocket, and it still happened. So absolutely thrilled about it. So yeah.
No, yeah, yeah. I think I'm so happy that you got a great deal. As we were discussing just before this call, right? It was off-market property, and it's in Townsville. Townsville is one of the hottest market in Australia
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
Um, I just checked some numbers about this property, right? So we got this. This was off-market. Um, they were wanting 525. We negotiated 15K to get it 510. We
Yes.
also did all the repairs work which came up in the building and pace. And I was just checking the valuation of the whole logic. It was showing 595. Can you believe this? Like,
I know it's gone up already in 2.5 months.
yeah, two and a
So
half months,
very
80
excited.
grand. Like, think about that. How long does it take to save 80 grand? It will take much longer time than
At
two
least
and
for
a half
me. At
months.
least for me. Yes.
I mean, like say 95% of Australian population, it takes lot longer than 2.5 months to save 80 grand. Like it's a big amount of money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. So
that's
it's a
why
big thing. It's
it's a big thing.
almost how much of it's almost the deposit money that I put. So
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
yes.
Here you go. You got
Yes.
100% cash on cost return in 2.5 months. What else we want for, right?
Yes.
And the
Yes.
rental appraisal is great too. Rental appraisal was like 570 to 580. It's currently has a current tenant, but when its lease is finished in January, the rent will go
Yes.
up, which can take care of the bank mortgage, hopefully, right?
Yes.
And the area is such a growth market and with such a low vacancy that rent will keep on increasing, right? So I think you
Yes.
are, yeah, absolutely, you are well on your way to buy your next one pretty soon, right? So
Yes. Hoping
congratulations.
so.
No, no,
Thank you.
very happy for you. All right. So the last, do you recommend, like you talk about our services, everything, anything else you want to talk about the services, and do you recommend to your friends and family
Yes,
who are looking to
I
invest?
have already. Something I forgot to mention to you when we've been dealing so often on our phone calls during this journey of my first property purchase was that so many of my colleagues were very. One was my discussion of buying the property had only started with them in about around April.
Mhm.
It was something that was on my mind for a very long time, but with my family. But I wanted to do this, have this journey on my own. So I started doing my own research. So I started asking my colleagues and everyone at work, and all my colleagues are around my age or a little younger than a lot younger than me, or younger than me, or way older than me. So I used to gather information from them as to like how's the market in Sydney, have they ever dealt with like buying overseas and interstate, and what do they think of a buyer's agent, blah blah blah. And no one has had an experience with a buyer's agent, so it was completely new for me as well. But as I shared my experience with them, they were super impressed, and they were super impressed by the fact that I was being granted discounts on a lot of things, and I was being, because of your contacts, I was being given leeways, and I was being given. I was being like properties were negotiated, and they were, if there was damages, that was being repaired within the negotiations and stuff like that. So they were super impressed, and a few of them did ask me about the contact, and I did mention to them. So some of them are still in their initial phase of still buying in Sydney and still exploring the interstate market. So hopefully, when they do, I'm hoping that they will reach out to me, or I will reach out to them, and I will let them know about you. As a matter of fact, for my family as well, they haven't explored the interstate properties as yet as well. And I'm guessing when they do, I'm sure they will reach out to you as you are a contact from them. So
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. No,
yes,
that's awesome. Thank you so much. And look, as I said, we are not transaction-based buyers agent, right? We would like to work with people whom we can help and who are committed, right? And most of my clients are referred. Like you are
yes,
referred by someone, you will refer someone else.
yes.
That's how we grow the business.
And that's because of your great service that you're being referred. If that wasn't true, it wouldn't be referred.
No, no,
So
thank you. Cool, cool. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate that, and thanks for your time chatting with us. All right.
thank you for all your help in this whole journey, and also for being still committed to helping me, despite have already being sold my property. And your continuous support is definitely something very reassuring that I'm still not alone in this, and you're there to help me out. So thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much.